you want to do an introduction while I cut my cigar?
I was about to suggest that.
Should we go then?
What's that lighter? You're such a joking cigar smoker. Where's the sulphur dioxide?
It's very true, actually. I've run out of my Havana House cigar exchange merchants.
God damn it. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. I don't know why I'm like shouting as if they're not going to hear me. Literally. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Clwb podcast. This is quite a monumental episode. You might be looking at this and thinking, episode 21. Why is that monumental? Well, I got sent a post a couple of weeks ago. Well, I say a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, by Jonathan Thomas, J7 Fitness, who is a personal trainer out of Everlast Fitness Gym in Trustra, and he sent me a post saying that 21 episodes is all it takes for a podcast to fail. Most people don't make it to 21. I can't remember the exact statistic, but I believe it was over a majority, so over 50%.
Before, I think.
It's quite high. So yeah, the point being that quite a high percentage of podcasts don't make it past their 21st episode. So I think this signals the time for us to end our podcast and call it a day, Alex, on episode 21. What do you think?
Before you do that, go and flip the thing round so I can see.
Oh yeah. No.
There we go.
Anyway, so in celebration of our 21st episode, we have decided to, both of us are going to retire.
Of the end of the podcast.
We're going to retire and we're going to stop.
One cigar and then that's it, we're done.
Yeah, so we thought we'd leave on a high note and talk about masculinity. This is something Mr. Knott wanted to talk about, and I don't think you could get anything more masculine than sitting fully wrapped up
in the snow, smoking a Bolivar Royal Corona.
Yes.
I should have a Dalmore with me now, but really alcohol decreases testosterone and muscle building capabilities, and that doesn't really fall in line with masculine properties. No. So,
but anyway, all jokes aside, we are not ending the podcast despite popular belief and probably high demand.
Despite high demand. Yeah.
So if you doubted us, unlucky. So yeah, masculinity is quite a controversial topic nowadays, which I have no understanding of why it is controversial, because being a masculine is a key role in society, I think. And it's been shunned in the last couple of years, you know. I'm not trying to make this political, but a lot of people have started to develop this attitude that men should be weak, they should be fragile, they should cry in front of everyone, whoever, they should be emotionally available to everyone. You know, it's okay for them to be overweight, it's okay for them to be out of shape, and whatnot. And you hear all these negative things, and I think it's such a terrible, terrible epidemic of trying to decrease a man's A, testosterone, and B, masculine properties. And it's something that needs to be rid from society. I think that a man has a responsibility to be the best version of himself that they can be, the most dangerous physically, the most dangerous intellectually, the most dangerous financially. And I think that there's many elements that cover this. And we're going to dive into them. So Alex, do you want to go first and talk about what do you think the element of masculinity is?
I will start by saying actually that I used AI to aid me in my journey today in masculinity. This sounds like an ad.
Yeah, I know. ChatGPT.
Before we get into the episode, this episode is sponsored by
Havana House.
Havana House cigar merchants. I used AI. I wanted to try out the AI chatbot and see what I could get from that, and it came up with some criteria of masculinity that I thought was cool. Including sort of a list of things that sort of encompass masculinity. The first being physicality and aggression. Yeah. So physical strength and aggression. We did start a debate this the other night, me and Matthew actually, but we forgot to press record. Yeah. So that didn't happen. But I think when I say physical strength and aggression, I'm not talking about fighting skills, although I don't think you can talk about them without talking about that. But I'll start prefacing this with saying that I don't necessarily mean being able to fight.
An act of violence randomly.
I don't mean that definitely, but I mean physical strength. I mean, if I ask myself the question, if I think of somebody who isn't physically strong and is timid, are they masculine? I don't think it's in dispute that the answer to that is no.
No, I agree.
I think you have to be. I think strength, being strong as a man, is important. And when you go into the gym and I can feel it now. I'm just like, God, I could crush something. That to me is just such a masculine. It's just a masculine feeling, and you just know that. You can hold your own, you're strong, you can lift things, and I just don't think there's much more to it than that. I think physical strength is everything. It's also linked with testosterone, if you want to go down that route and talk about how testosterone actually chemically makes you feel more aggressive.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we can, like, if we made a sort of avatar of masculinity. So if I said to you, whoever's listening to this, think of a very masculine person. You'd think of someone who is athletic. You'd think of someone who has maybe a full head of hair on their chest, maybe. But you'd think of someone who's very strong, powerful, caring. I'm trying to think of people. Anyway, I can't think of one. But in your head, you're probably thinking of someone who you think is masculine. It might be a celebrity, it might be an actor, and normally the person you think of is probably muscular and physically strong, like The Rock.
But not necessarily like The Rock.
No, not really that big, but strong.
But in good shape.
Yeah.
Physical strength. You don't want to be a man in a relationship where you can't pick things up for your wife. Can you imagine that? That's not masculinity.
Open a jar, yeah.
Yeah, can you open this jar?
No, with your dainty wrists like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think physical strength is important, but I mean, there are people who aren't physically strong, yet they're very powerful people.
Yeah.
Politicians, many of them. So you've got to consider, is it physical strength? Is it being in shape? Does that really make you that masculine? Or is it the way you hold yourself, the way you think?
Yeah.
Because you can be, you can be really, really strong and really, really fit and really, really aggressive, but know nothing. Like, you have no academic understanding of anything.
That's actually an interesting point as well, because if you think of the alpha male concept over time, like 400, 500 years ago, the alpha male was someone who was good with the sword. Maybe not 500 years ago, maybe a bit longer than that. Or think back to the caveman days, the alpha male, the leader of the tribe. And there's a really good YouTuber who speaks about this. His name's Hamza. If you haven't seen him yet, then you should check out his channel before it gets cancelled.
Yeah, he's probably going to go soon.
Yeah, but he speaks about like this whole like cult sort of thing with brotherhood and stuff. And if you think who the alpha in society was in the caveman days, it was the person who could hunt and kill and cook and gather. But nowadays that's changed. If you're just physically strong these days, but you're like, you have no intellect or no intellectual capabilities, then are you that alpha? Like, is that really such a masculine thing to be? Just really strong but really dumb? Yeah.
Well, if you go and check out our website at clwb.com, you'll see on the homepage I've added a quote which reads as follows, and this is the part where I've got to try and remember. Hang on a minute, I'm going to get it up because I don't want to botch it.
You did this.
I've read it. Hang on, my father's texting me. Turning the volume up on your laptop is always a good.
I told him.
Huh?
I told him.
Oh, right.
I believe the quote is a society that leaves.
No, don't do it, because I've made the effort to find it on my phone. So, the society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting by fools. And you've got to think of, if you think of a man who you can imagine the sort of philosopher type sits and smokes a pipe,
sits there like this
and writes, strokes his beard and writes theses and has papers everywhere. Timid, never leaves, introverted, doesn't have any intention of sticking up for other people, won't stick up for people, won't fight people if necessary, but knows more about the world and has more thoughts and has more provoking thoughts than the majority of other people in the world. Does that make him a masculine man if he's made an effort to make himself intelligent? I don't think you can. I think you have half a glass full. I don't think you really encompass yourself fully as a masculine man. And then you have the other side of the coin, which I just spoke about, the aggression, the physical strength, but without academic capability. Not necessarily academic in terms of ability to understand.
Just a baseline level of intelligence.
I just mean intelligence.
Yeah.
Being able to comprehend more than basic, ideas, and I think that's important. That's very important when you put that together with the ability the strength and the aggression and testosterone. And if you think of it, a man that's in good shape, most men don't have a particularly easy life. They usually have jobs, they usually have
Stresses.
things they need to tend to, people they're worried about protecting. I keep myself awake multiple days a week trying to find out how I can retire my parents, how I can make a better life for them, and
I manifested too.
And the fact that I then managed to go to the gym and be strong and stay healthy, and I'm not in the best shape, and that's an important thing. That's why we're talking about this, because I'm thinking I've let myself go a little bit. Can I really say I'm a masculine man? I think so, but I haven't been disciplined enough, and we're going to get to that word because that's obviously something we can get to. I haven't been disciplined enough to go to the gym enough and train hard enough and eat well enough to keep myself in shape to be the best physical person that I can be, to protect other people, to be as strong and as healthy and as energetic as possible. If I haven't done that, I've done that deliberately due to laziness, lack of motivation, whatever that might mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think discipline, you touched on that. Discipline is a key concept of masculinity, and not only discipline in terms of just not eating junk food and getting up and in the gym, but emotional discipline. Being stoic. I think stoicism is such an underrated way of thinking, and it's such an important thing to be as a man, stoic, and that's something I've tried to adapt recently, is stoicism, just not letting things bother me and not showing my emotions to different types of people, because if you're an emotional person, then it makes you predictable, and you don't really want to be predictable as a man.
Unpredictable, you mean?
No, if you're... Well, I don't know, it depends. Would you rather be unpredictable or predictable? Because if people can predict you, is that a weakness in a man?
But think of the source of unpredictable behaviour. Why are they unpredictable?
Irrational.
That means their tendencies change. That means their habits change. That means their actions change, which means they're not stable, which means they're unstable, which means they're dangerous and weak.
Yeah.
So you talk about unpredictability, I think that's completely a bad thing in a man.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you.
Because if you're predictable, it means you're consistent and disciplined.
Yeah, that's true.
You might say, I'm unpredictable. Am I going to go to the pub on the weekend, or am I going to have a blast at SPD?
Yeah.
That's not good, is it? The fact that you don't know whether I'm going to be available on the weekend.
Yeah.
Whereas I know you will be, and I know that that's a much better thing. So you're predictable. It may be boring, but you're reliable. You can be relied upon, depended upon. Can I? Yeah, well, yes, I think
most
so.
Most of the time, 100%,
But at the same time, it's still that point of, am I going to go to the pub on the weekend? Can you depend on me to be there for the podcast on Saturday?
Yeah.
I know I can on you. You can't as much as on me, and that means that I'm not as disciplined as you. These are bad things that I'm showing here.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about predictability,
actually,
mic drop.
I'm glad you said that, actually, because I didn't think of it that way, and I don't know why I didn't think of it like that, because Patrick Bet-David said the same thing. He said all successful people are predictable. They're going to be here on this time, there on that time. They're going to get stuff done. But anyway, I think success is another thing as a man. I think you've got to strive for some form of success, and
whatever that is.
That could be economic success. It could be emotional success. It could be some people just want to have a family and take care of someone.
Smoking Bolivar Royal Corona.
Yeah, some people just want
on a Tuesday night after my civil service shift in Team Erling Command.
Yeah. But I think as a man, you should always strive to be better, and I think constant progression and Kaizen is a really big element of masculinity. If you're not striving to be better as a man, then you're just going to get left behind. Because I think more people.
That's a good point. You will get left behind.
More people are really waking up to the
Andrew Tate has really done something. I don't give a fuck if his name is overused.
I'm sorry.
He's walking something in young men, which could be used dangerously, but I think if used correctly, is an absolute force for good and a force for better relationships, for more protection of women. It benefits everybody. And
the thing is, though, a lot of people are demonising Mr. Tate over certain comments that have been taken way out of context, and people close to us have even distance themselves from us because we like Andrew Tate. And I think if you don't like someone because they watch someone else's content, then I think that
then you should immediately unfollow.
That's worse than like us being like associated with a rapist. And I use that term very loosely because none of it's ever been proven.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
I'm not going to say it hasn't happened. I'm just going to say I haven't seen evidence for
exactly. And it's not as if Mr. Tate is going around and murdering people with a knife. He's very against that. He stands for a lot of different things. And I think elements of this video is stuff that we've learned from him as well.
This is essentially a summary of things we've learned from, First Man, Hamza, the Tates, things that we have come to learn ourselves, things that we've seen, and you know what happens now is I get to see what masculinity isn't, and I get to see examples of people who aren't masculine, and I start to pick out weaknesses in men. I don't point them out all the time. That becomes arrogant and a bit obnoxious, but I can see it now, so I can think, what if people think that about me? What can I do to improve myself? Like, how can I present myself to other people? I mean, I've never really been one to chase relationships, chase girls, but you can think, I've started to think now, if I am not getting the attention that I want, intimately, for relationships, or in terms of networking for business partners, other things like that, if I'm not getting no one's coming towards me, that suggests that I have not presented myself in a high value manner, so I haven't earned that. So if you want a really fit girlfriend, if you want a really high value business relationship, if you want a good entrepreneur to start a business with, I think you've got to present yourself in a way that shows masculinity. It shows that you're able to be disciplined. It shows that you are able to build financial wealth and stability and security. It shows that you're able to overcome failure. All of these things. If you're showing evidence of emotional instability, fragilism. I don't know if that's a word, but if it is a word, I've just invented it. There we are. Clwb coined the new philosophical genre, fragility and fragilism. I don't like fragility, I like fragilism because it sounds like vagilism.
Fragilism sounds like more of a political sort of ideology, isn't it? I'm in the camp of fragilistic belief. But yeah, I totally agree with what you said there, and I've started to start my own masculine transformation, if you want to call that.
Yeah, it is a transformation.
Yeah, because neither
of us this time last year were anything to be spoken of. Really.
No. I was out of shape. I was depressed. I was this and that. I'm not going to go into it. But one thing that I've learned from Mr. Tate and whatnot is that you must take responsibility for everything in your life, whether that be good or whether that be bad. You've got to take full responsibility for it, and in one way or another, everything that happens to you in your life is your fault. Obviously, certain things aren't your fault. Death in I'll just continue as I was. Anyway, so let's start back from where I left off, talking about extreme ownership. For example, the SD card just was full, that's why it stopped. So that is completely my fault, and I've taken complete blame for that.
And the battery died.
Which is my fault somehow. It's not going to be Alex's fault.
No, it's not. Well, it isn't my fault.
No, it isn't.
Is it my fault?
No, it's not, Mr. Knott. But anyway, it's not Mr. Knott. But anyway, extreme ownership. This is something that Jocko Willing talks about. This is something that Andrew Tate talks about, and it's the common thread is a lot of the successful males on this planet speak about it, and it's absolutely vital to be a man. If imagine if you were interacting with a male, and something was going wrong, and they were fussing around, and they were like, "Oh, it's not my fault," it's not that, and being quite feministic about it. It wouldn't be a very masculine product of their character, would it? You'd want a man who would, even if a ship is sinking, you'd want them to say it's their fault and just get on with it, not make excuses and cry about it.
It's well, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, again, just looking at, without thinking about things deeply philosophically, you can just think about a man, you've seen before where you're like, oh no, I didn't do it. Men who beat women. And then say, oh no, I wouldn't do that, and then in secret they're coercively controlling and domestically abusing their female partners, their weaker, less physically strong partner. That is lack of ownership. That is completely
cowardice.
It's cowardice. That is completely, utterly one of the lowest forms of man. When when you present yourself as somebody strong and masculine, but really the only person you can physically overcome is a vulnerable woman.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting.
It is disgusting because there's nothing physically strong about that. You're trying to display strength in the only way you can, and that is to somebody who is very clearly unable to defend themselves against you.
And that's another thing as well.
Same with children.
Lying as well. I think it comes back to ownership again. You know, if you're dishonest and you lie about things, then I don't think that makes you a man. Now, obviously, we've all told a lie at some point, whether it's a white lie or a massive lie. We've all told lies, myself included. I've lied to people who I shouldn't have, and I should have been honest. And I take that in my stride now, and I just use it as a lesson to be more of a man. And just, if you do something wrong, own up to it. You know, if your mum's having a go at you for not folding the towel correctly on the rack, just take ownership of it and
go, sorry.
Yes.
I will.
And just take ownership of it, because I think that's such a key aspect of being
So
a
if
man.
your mother says the towel's not folded correctly on the rack, you go, correct, mother, no it's not, and then walk away.
Yeah, or tell her to do it. No, but anyway, you should as a man I forgot my train of thought here. You should, as a man, prioritise other people as well, and you should ensure that you help people, not just yourself. You know, you give help to those people who need it, and you treat everyone with respect. Unless anyone has a genuine reason for you to not respect them, then I think you should treat everyone fairly and be nice to everyone, because you don't really know what some people are going through, really.
What about traditional masculinity then? The masculinity that's like, you know, men should have certain control over the actions and freedom of their female partners.
I think that's a very political.
Don't worry about politics. Just think about it traditionally, because that's how things have been done for all of time.
Yeah.
It's only in the past 60 years, less than that, last 50 years, that things have decided to change, and they've changed rapidly.
I agree.
And now the idea of masculinity is to be submissive, is to allow your queen to dictate to you, and then you are just a working man. You are a workhorse that serves the woman.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Because that's what's happening in households these days.
Yeah.
Men are becoming the simps. They're becoming the slaves to the women. And you hear men making jokes about it, like, oh, the wife's in charge, you know, and I got to do what she says. Oh, God, it's not worth my time, you know, I'll give it
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, but isn't that just sad, the fact that you give... Well, I'm saying that as if I think we should have control over women. I don't necessarily believe that.
No.
But can you see the way things are going where, you know, men are the ones, and strong men, that is what women really want. Yet women still want to maintain the control.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's definitely been a trend in the last couple of years, and you know, you see like modern pop culture is promoting I can't say this word. Promiscuity. Oh,
promiscuous nature.
They are promoting. I'm not having a mare with this promiscuous behaviour from females, and I'm not saying, you know, women shouldn't do what they want. You know, of course everyone has a freedom of right, but I think that some girls choose not to because they know that that's not their character, and they don't want to be promiscuous. And I don't want to make this about women at all, because it's not. This is solely a masculine topic. That's not us, like, you know, casting women away.
But I tell you what, let me elaborate a little bit, because I presented that point to you as if I was saying, should men have control over women? But that's not what I mean. I just think, you know, men, if you think of it, like Andrew Tate, for example, expects no financial contribution from the woman, no physical defence of the woman, no property, nothing like that. All he wants from them is loyalty and, you know, make his coffee and be good to him, or when he's ill, you know, look after him. And he will fight anyone who breaks into the house.
Yeah.
He will, do you know, he explained it really well. It's like, he has the Tate train, and women are allowed to jump on and off the train. He's driving the train, and you can have at it, do whatever you want in the train. But that's his train, he's driving it, and you can ride on the train if you like, and it'll be one of the greatest trains ever.
Yeah.
You know, but you've got to maintain the rules operated within that train.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can jump off whenever you want, but all you have to do is step on. You have to be pretty and then you step on, and that's why I think he claims, I want to be able to know where my woman's going. She's not allowed to go out without me. She's not allowed to go to the club without me. He's providing a great life for these women, and all he wants in return is some children and
a bit of loyalty.
And it sounds really, really bad, but you've got to think about it. And my question then is, the way I would rephrase this is, should men then, masculine men, is it a part of masculinity and traditional masculinity that men should be financial caregivers? Should women actually have to work? Because I like that part of traditional masculinity, in that me and a female partner, I don't want them to work.
No.
I want them to look after the house and make sure that's good. I want them to, help me make food and stuff, because I'm going to be working all the time and I'll make shitloads of money for you. You can buy whatever you want. Have whatever you want. Have the Gucci bag, whatever, I don't care. Spend all my money.
Have the road wearables.
Have a road wearable.
Yeah. But
as long as you don't use it for OnlyFans, because I'll have to take a cut of that.
I completely agree with that. And I think I would feel so much, I'd feel such a sense of joy and pride if I knew that I could provide for someone. Like, if I was providing for a partner, I think that would give me such a feeling of pride. I think I'd be so over the moon knowing that they're dependent on me. Not that I should be manipulative.
But not putting them into a position where they can't live without you, because then that's coercive control.
Yes, I agree.
What are you going to do when you leave me? And I do truly believe, and I know he's under investigation, and you've got to be careful how you speak his name, but I don't want to silence what I think is real truth. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, they are really, really good to women. I don't believe that they are coercively controlling women, trafficking women, holding them at their home against their will, lying to them. And I think there's been more than enough people testifying to the fact that that's complete nonsense what's going on now, and that they are very, very polite to the women around them, and that they're really good to them, and that all they want in return is loyalty.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
They don't even talk about freaky sex that they have.
No, they don't like to talk about it.
They don't. How many times did you see Andrew Tate talking about how many women?
It's when that's Cheyenne. Is it Cheyenne? I think that was her name. With the grilling, the one who does the grilling. When she asked him about his favourite sex position, he refused to talk about it because
haram.
Yeah, because it was against his beliefs. And I think that's good. I think manners as well is another thing. Andrew Tate is very polite as well, and I don't want to make this about Andrew Tate because this is our podcast, and hopefully we can have him on one day. That would be an absolute.
Absolutely. Hopefully still alive when we get the opportunity to meet him. I really, really, really do hope that he doesn't actually get killed.
Yeah.
Because he seems to think that's going to happen. There are a lot of people who seem to think he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, and I think if he does die, that says a lot. That speaks volumes.
I wouldn't believe a suicide
or a car crash.
I wouldn't believe any of that. No, I don't think that can happen. I was worried when he was sent to hospital with lung nodules. I was thinking that. What's that they've put inside him? He's going to die. Yeah. Maybe he did have a medical condition that he just didn't tell anybody. That's fine.
Probably.
I mean, it's his prerogative. He can say what he wants. But I was worried. And anyway, we're straying off from straight into a Tate podcast.
I think we can talk about this all day, to be honest with you. I think there's so many elements of masculinity that we haven't even covered, really.
Well, modern masculinity, let's just jump onto that, because we've talked about traditional masculinity.
Yeah.
Is there a masculinity, is there a definition of a man beyond the biological, what makes a masculine man?
Properties
I
of a
think,
man.
as you said, Andrew Tate doesn't like to talk about sex and stuff like that. I don't think masculinity is gloating and talking about all the things you've done, all the money you've made, all the women you've had sex with. I think there's an aspect of humility and being a gentleman.
Having a conduct code within yourself,
having good self-awareness. I think there's a lot of, but that comes back to what I was saying earlier. You're glass half empty if you can fight where you can't think. You've got to be able to conduct yourself appropriately. You've got to be able to communicate with lots of different types of people.
Yeah.
Maybe some people with special needs who need a very particular type of communication. Not being, I don't know how to talk to these people, they're different. And then really, really high professionals, corporate professionals, maybe corrupt people. How do you navigate different types of people? How do you communicate with people? That's just as important as being ripped and in shape and being able to fight. We haven't even talked about the ability to fight, because does that come into physical aggression? What's the importance there? We've spoken about the importance of martial arts, so we won't make it a huge aspect. No. But I'll let you know.
Well, we answered that question in that podcast, and if you haven't watched that podcast, you need to. It's one of the most value-providing podcasts we've done.
And it was interesting for me as well, as somebody who hasn't as much experience in fighting, and who doesn't necessarily. I don't for a minute disagree with the statement that masculinity and the ability to fight and your duty as a man includes the ability to defend yourself and create and inflict violence if necessary.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to that
element of protection.
Well, yes, and also comes back to that ability to think, ability to hold yourself. You've got to be a warrior and a guardian, and I think that's a huge part of being a man, is having the ability to destroy lots of things and have real power, physical prowess, and intellectual abilities beyond. You'd be able to kill somebody with words and just silence them. That's important. Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate, if they had a kid, if that was possible, it'll be possible soon, I'm sure. But if they had a child, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because Andrew Tate isn't exactly illiterate, but Jordan Peterson has that completely. He's beyond. And even Jordan Peterson is somebody who isn't necessarily big and strong and who could fight. Like he'd get killed by, you'd be able to very easily overcome Jordan Peterson. He's not an old man, but he's an older man.
Yeah, but psychologically...
he's unbreakable. He'll come back.
Yeah, which I think is a key aspect is...
Yeah, but my point was, he talks about how it is also very, very important, if you're tall, masculine, big, strong, you can fight. That is not nothing, he says. Yeah, that's his exact words. It's not nothing. You can't just disregard that. But his point was, it's much more important to be able to have vocabulary, to have understanding, to understand how things really work, because you can put yourself in dangerous positions. It's like if you're really, really strong and you can fight, you can walk stupidly into dangerous situations and then force yourself to have to use your violence. Whereas if you're smart enough, not that you run away from things, but if you're smart enough, you can definitely avoid many dangerous situations just by using your head and not, as you say, seeing red and just saying, I've got to do something about this. Just walk away. Know that that's the best thing.
Emotional intelligence as well.
It is absolute emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I think being able to control your mind as well is a very big masculine thing. And discipline as well, doing things we don't want to do them. We've all come through hardships in our lives, but at the end of the day, so what? Pain only makes you stronger.
And the inhalation of cigar smoke increases free testosterone. Honestly, I guarantee you, one Bolivar Royal Corona is more impactful
400 milligrams of test
than 400 milligrams of test.
So I think everyone just needs to really, really try a cigar, to be honest with you.
Get in touch with me at alex@clwb.com. It's not an email yet.
Join the cigar lounge on a Discord.
But I was actually thinking, and I haven't told Martha yet, but I want to start a Clwb cigar club for networking. For males.
Who smoke cigars typically?
It's not necessarily about the smoking of cigars. It's just a networking club where it's sort of like that gentleman vibe. It's just a thought. And if you have any further thoughts to add to that, any ideas on how we can, because we want to host events. And there's a page on our website under events, and we definitely want to host events, not just gym related events, but events where men and women, because I know this is an episode of masculinity, that's why we haven't spoken so much about women. But we want to be able to host events where people can come together just to socialise. It doesn't have to be a whiskey and a cigar and, snobbiness. Yeah. But just like conversations like this.
Having a deep chat.
We can have like an outside beer garden in the summer with a fire pit and a couple of drinks.
Could rent somewhere out.
We could. If you're interested, I'm genuine about it. I reckon we should do that.
Yeah, I'd be well up for that.
Like a terrace or something in Knightsbridge.
Do you know what? We put on the company card.
Company card. Firstly, there isn't a company card, and if there was a company card, there'd be nothing on it.
No, especially not.
The Matrix has come to get us. Oh
right.
My God.
I think we could talk about this all day, but the Matrix are indeed coming after us.
The Matrix are indeed on their way.
There's a helicopter flying towards us.
It's landing on the roof. Right, okay, guys, we're going to call it a day. I hope you've enjoyed the episode.
It's been a bit of a different one. I
mean, look, we've surpassed the point of failure. So what happens from now on is got to go up.
It's great.
My back is against the wall, literally.
But I think we've overcome a lot, and I think it's time for us to really go now. This year's going to be a massive one for us. Starting off with the Jack Thorburn podcast, more regular YouTube videos as well, and there's just loads of things coming from us. We might potentially have a nice little merch line that you can probably see me wearing right now.
You say potentially, but within a couple of months, we will have a very sophisticated lineup. We've got the Clwb beanie. That's an almost guaranteed. We can't guarantee what products we're going to let them. Show them the
Clwb hoodie.
This is actually really, really, really high quality.
Yeah, this is lush. Shout out to my mum.
We've got joggers as well. These are Gymshark, but we've got joggers as well. Shorts,
vests,
a t-shirt, a vest. I've got a nice little jacket that if you've seen our latest YouTube video, not the latest, couple of videos
The
ago.
2022 summary.
The 2022 summary, you'll see me wearing that. And yeah, all I want to say is that big things are coming. Clwb Gibson, watch out, we're coming for you. I'm joking.
Whoa, don't say that about my coach, bro. oh, I can't say that. You'll have to cut that out. It's not announced yet. Anyway.
No, it'll be out before that. It's coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah, of course it is. But yeah, anyway.
So if you haven't seen the announcement, obviously it's spoiled now.
Yeah.
But actually, I'll bleep it out.
My coach is, and then just bleep that out. But anyway, guys, I've been Matthew. This has been Alex, and that has been a
Bolivar Royal Corona. I was going to save this, and hopefully that I could smoke one with Damien Hart. Obviously, give him his own cigar, because I know he likes cigars. I just thought it would be a cool thing to do.
100%.
I've smoked this now, so I might have to either whip out the Michelero Robusto or the Romeo and Juliet Short Churchill.
a bit of class.
A bit of class, darling. I'm down there 15 to finish it off. But anyway, enough of my really posh, snobby, very overly arrogant attitude. Yes, I've enjoyed this episode. The Matrix is actually knocking on my door at this point. So,
if you don't hear from us, I have not killed myself.
Yeah, we're in a flat in Mayfair right now.
Laughing and rich.
Laughing and rich. Yeah, we're above the Connaught Hotel. Yeah, if you want to meet up with us, the Wellesley Hotel Cigar Lounge would be ideal, darling.
8 p.m. Friday.
8 p.m. Friday. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for listening, guys.